What's going on, all you wild ghouls out there? It's your two favorite spooky hosts right here. I'm Logan Myers. This is my good
Ooh.
mate over there.
I'm Henry Hill. Is everybody ready to talk about the new James Wan horror film,
I
Malignant?
am. I am so ready to talk about it. This is one of our most anticipated films, especially horror films of the year. Huge fan of James Wan. Been following his career since the beginning with the original Saw movie, seeing that in theaters and opening night. So been a fan of his for the most part over the years. And he returns to the horror genre. He's been making the Aquaman films recently, but he's returning back to the genre. He knows best. And we're talking about horror with a brand new film that hit HBO Max, Malignant.
Ooh. And malignant, of course, is a term for cancer that is spreading. So most of the time when it spreads like that, it's terminal cancer. So, you kind of get a clue as to where the film's going to go just by the title Malignant, in the beginning with the scenes where Madison is getting her backstory filled in by the doctors and everything. But we first meet Madison in the film. We just know that she's this pregnant wife to this abusive husband. The guy's pretty much, telling her she's worthless and go grab me a beer, bitch. The typical fucking asshole husband in the horror films. And he throws her head against a wall. He basically bounces her head against the wall, and the movie begins from there.
Yeah, and all this spooky stuff starts really happening. The first act of the film, it feels like it's a ghost story. And this spooky character named Gabriel, which we find out more of that backstory, is kind of creeping around the corner. And it's typical James Wan set pieces in the first act, being, really dark house that we've seen, The Conjuring and Insidious. And there's weird, sounds creaking in the floor and weird things. And you think it's like a ghost, and you see this kind of apparition throughout the house, and really scary scenes, some pretty good jump scares, and things not ending well for that asshole husband. It really sets up the rest of the story for Madison's character.
Madison is played by an actress that we've seen in Peaky Blinders, is where I recognize her from most.
That's what it
She's
was.
been in some other films as well. Her acting in the film doesn't start out well. I mean, she does, it's this writing she was given. Basically, she doesn't have a lot of dialogue. She's required to scream a lot.
Yeah.
So some of her acting fell flat for me. Being the lead character, I wanted to be more invested in her and believe her, but it was just kind of over the top for me as far as. But I mean, being an actor and having to pretend that I'm having apparitions of this killer, I'm sure I'd be fucked up too. But I just found her performance to be a little lackluster as far as giving it her all and not being overly cheesy. That, and she had a bad wig on during the film. She's a natural blonde, and she had this long dark wig, which we see more of with Gabriel and that character. When we do kind of finally see Gabriel's actual shape, we see he has this long, black hair, stringy black hair, wears this black kind of trench coat looking thing, and uses this award that's in the shape of a knife that a surgeon won as the murder weapon in the film. And half the time, like you're saying, we don't know if this is just happening in her head or if these murders are actually happening. Like, is this all from her crazy mind, or are things in the real world really happening?
Yeah, it makes you question a lot of things. And like you're saying, parts of it like ghost story, and it kind of turns into like a thriller and action, and parts like seemed a little bit all over the place. But I don't know if it actually ever really found its footing. But as we dive in more to Madison's character, finding her backstory, she was adopted. She ended up at this research facility when she was a young kid, and she kept having this imaginary friend named Gabriel, which we know from the beginning of the movie, having to do with this apparition and spook creeping around the corner and stuff like that. But we find out it's related to this parasitic tumor that she had. It was an extreme version of, what do you call it? Teratoma? Extreme version of teratoma.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're basically attached, this tumor to Gabriel, and they basically had to cut it off of her, but save part of it that's adhered to the brain so she doesn't die. So part of it is still with her, but they cut off the rest of it, and which really is Gabriel, and find out later in the movie what that's all about. But I thought the scenes with Gabriel, the setup were pretty cool. Like you said, the trench coat looks like he was going in the Matrix or something early on, but the actual practical effects look really good. And this is a really gory movie. There's a lot of blood, and kill scenes, really excellent kill scenes in this.
James Wan has made his huge, massive budget B movie, his kind of trauma film here in this movie with the amount
Yeah.
of gore, just the practical effects they used, which made me laugh. I mean, honestly, it didn't look very great to me as far as a big horror film, but I think maybe that's what James Wan's going for here. He wanted to make a big B movie, and that's what he did. Seeing the actual, we won't spoil anything here, but once you see the actual Gabriel's face, it'll kind of make you chuckle and see some of the things towards the end and how they're not only connected by the mind, there's some other twists that happen along the way. This film throughout, I can say, was very well shot. The cinematography was very, very well done. James Wan has this horror kind of these, horror house kind of movies. He has the atmosphere and the filming done for these, that he does a good job of making things really creepy in the dark and doing all these apparitions. It looks very well done, and it looks like they spent a lot of money doing it. So this film is nice to look at throughout. Gabriel himself, the villain, is kind of a villain we've seen before. It's not something that's totally new, but I did like where he went with this. It was something different. And once he's revealed, it's kind of a cool twist. Nothing very memorable for me. This movie isn't something that I'll probably revisit too many times in the future. I was expecting something different. I was expecting more from the way the previews looked. It looked like it was going to be something more along the lines of The Conjuring or Insidious. So this threw me for a loop, which isn't always a bad thing, but for me, I don't feel like I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah, I feel differently about this movie. I had a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of nods to 80s slasher movies, Stephen King, a bunch of stuff in here that you could see are Easter eggs. Really, the downfall of the movie for me was Annabelle Wallis that played Maddie. I don't think she was very good in this role, maybe miscast, but I think everything else, even the story, the backstory of Gabriel with the tumor and how it awakens that after this traumatic event happens to Madison, and it really sets up the most bonkers third act I've seen in a while. Without giving too much away, having to do with Gabriel and the big twist, what this is all about, as you can guess who that person really is in the trench coat. But I love the synth wave in this movie, a lot of great synthesizer music, which I appreciated because you guys know I love that stuff, 80s music. Listen to it all the time. So it really created an awesome atmosphere that Juan hasn't done before in terms of like score. The music, I thought it elevated it. And, you had the, cliche James Wan set pieces, but I did enjoy those in the first act. Setting it up like a spooky ghost story, and then it turns into something completely different. I think pretty unique and original. I honestly thought it was one of the better horror movies of the year. I'll probably revisit this come Halloween season or next month in October, because I had a good time with it. It's a good movie to watch, have a few drinks, sit back, relax, and not take it too serious. Just have some fun with it. So with that being said, I would give James Wan's Malignant a 3.5 out of 5 James Wan hair pieces.
Well, you liked it more than me. I was cringing half the time. The acting was bad for me. I don't know. Maybe I just was being overly critical of it. And I wasn't expecting that third act. And that's, the third act alone and that finale and those, the twist in this movie definitely bumped this a little higher for me. This was a standard horror movie until the end. The ending's not very surprising to me, but it was cool how they did it. I hadn't seen anything like that before, as far as how they, merged the two, Gabriel and Madison's characters there at the end. I thought that was cool. And hearing all the bone cracks and all that, the sound was amazing in this movie as well. Really, really awesome score. I really enjoyed it too. Again, that's bumping up the score for me on this film. There are two very, very memorable scenes in the movie towards the end. I know I said I wouldn't revisit the movie as a whole, but I'll probably be watching these two scenes again just to see the sheer brutality of it. You're going into this movie for the third act. So if you don't like it like me at first, wait till the third act kicks in. It was about an hour in before some of this crazy stuff started happening towards the end, and it saved the movie for me. This was on its way to a very, very low score, and it's not going to get a terribly low score for me. It's just a film that, I don't know, I'm not going to revisit anytime soon, but maybe that's just because it's so fresh. I can see this movie definitely becoming a cult classic over the years. Like you said, this really worked for you. You thought this was awesome. So I can definitely see this gaining a cult following over the years. And, I can see myself probably giving this another shot in a different mind frame. Just ignoring the marketing for this and not expecting anything. I think that was my main issue with the film, really, just expecting something that it wasn't. So after that long-winded rant there and my thoughts on the movie, it's definitely worth watching. It's on HBO Max now. It's in theaters, go see it if you can, but if not, just watch it on HBO Max. That's what it's there for. You'll have a good time with it. Just go in with, clear your mind of the other James Wan films, and I think you'll enjoy the film. I am going to give Malignant a 3 out of 5 Gabriel hair pieces.
We have some more reviews right up here in our YouTube channel. We just reviewed episode 5 of What If, the zombie episode, and had a great time with that. We were giving away the Shawshank Redemption on 4K next Thursday. So we have a video up on YouTube and our website, social media outlets. Answer the question, enter. We'll announce one random winner next Thursday. We have more reviews coming up, podcasts, and all that fun stuff as well. So if you haven't hit subscribe, do that right now below.
Check out our new logos.
Yeah.
Logan just unveiled them today. They look beautiful. We're still tinkering with them, but I think that we've found how we like our look now. And I love seeing those logos pop out the page. Really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. We always like the retro vibes and bright colors. That's who we are as individuals. As much as we love horror, but we like the 80s retro vibes. So check those out on all of our social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I'm still finalizing the logo, but that will be up soon.
Love it. So thank you guys for tuning in to our review of Malignant. What did you guys think of this film? Did this work for you guys? Is this a cult classic in your eyes? Or could you not get past the bad acting in the initial first hour or so? But we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you guys thought of the film. Uncle Logan, thank you for reviewing this one for me, mate. Can't wait to cover some more horror as we get into October.
31 Days of Horror is coming very soon, folks. So stay tuned. We're going to be dropping lots of horror movie reviews, new and old, and the classic films. So we're going to be getting pretty spooky right here on our YouTube channel as well very soon in the Halloween season.
And like a malignant tumor, it's time to slice us out.
Ooh.
I'm Uncle Henry Hill.
And I'm Gabriel Myers. Until next time,
cheers.